everyone. It is Thursday, June 2nd, and this is our 5th Innovation Showcase. It is 7.5 hours after 2 p.m. when we host the Innovation Challenge every Tuesday and Thursday. I accidentally forgot to press record when Miss Wright started sharing about her innovation in remote learning and teaching. So I am just giving you a quick little intro. Welcome to the Innovation Showcase for Tuesday, June 2nd. We are excited to have an awesome lineup today from Monroe High School, Health Science Academy at Monroe Middle School, as well as Shiloh Valley Primary. So we've got some awesome teachers that have been nominated by their peers or their boss, or Miss Lee this morning, our afternoon presenter, Miss Lee was nominated by a parent of a student who's also an employee at another school, but she loves the things that Miss Lee is doing, and so she nominated Miss Lee to share what she's doing with Smart Learning Suite and her kindergartners. So stick around for that one. We're going to start with Miss Wright from Monroe High School, and we're going to move on to Miss Miller from Health Science Academy at Monroe Middle School, and we're going to finish up with Miss Wright. So thanks for joining us today, whether you are watching us live or you're watching us on the YouTube channel. We're glad you're here. Check us out every single Tuesday and Thursday. We will see, I'll add the link at the very bottom of the screen so you know where to check out the schedule and see what's coming up next week. Thanks for coming. We're going to pop right into the very beginning of Miss Wright's presentation. She's kind of just laying the foundation about why she did what she did. We didn't miss much of her presentation. You really just missed me kind of welcoming everybody and setting the stage. So thanks for coming. And here's Miss Wright from Monroe High School.
Because I'm the type of teacher, if I'm bored, they're going to be bored. So I always try to think outside the box. And when we moved to remote learning, it was really hard. It was a hard transition for me. And I know it was a hard transition for some of my kids. But literally the week before we got out, I started a coaching cycle with Ashley Ponchek, and I'd just done my recording and was super excited for everything. And then everything happened. So she reached out to me and we started brainstorming kind of how we could transition the coaching cycle to make it worth my time and hers, and for it to be beneficial for myself and my teaching and my kids. So I had started looking at choice boards probably even before Christmas, trying just to figure out how they worked, the best way to use them. And when I met with Ms. Ponchek, my goal was to keep my students engaged. So probably for the first 4 or 5 weeks, it was, I gave a couple assignments here, try them, do them, work on this, work on that. And I wasn't getting a lot of participation. It was the same kind of 5 or 6 students every week. So it was really frustrating to me because I get so much more engagement in my classes. So I came up with the choice board options, and I decided to use it through Canvas, which just is our learning platform. And I had recently done the Canvas Rockstars, which I was pretty familiar with a lot of things in Canvas, but doing the Rockstars just kind of opened my mind up to different things that I could do in Canvas. So I decided to do choice boards, working with Ms. Ponchek, to increase engagement. One, it allows kids to work at their own pace. During, this time in the pandemic, they don't get a lot of choice. They're confined to their homes. They're confined to this assignment, that assignment. So I figured, why not make their assignments all about choices? So I came up, and this was actually my second choice board I decided that I did. And this is the one they're still currently working on. So I tried to come up with 5 kind of categories for them to do. So they have to identify something, write something, create something, they discuss, because we all know high schoolers love to give their opinions, and then to kind of push them above and beyond critical thinking. But I also had to remember I'm not there to help them when they're working on it. So I had to think of things that would be in their realm of learning that they could easily adapt and easily understand, which choice boards are a great way for personalized learning. So it's not just differentiation, but it's personalized to every student that you have. One of the things, so with this second choice board, I saw probably it was maybe a 10% boost in numbers of engagement from my first to my second. And I'm kind of kicking myself for it now. I wish I would have started this sooner. But once my kids started doing it, it really kind of motivated me to think outside the box again, and the normalcy of teaching kind of came back to me. And I've had a lot of fun creating them. But I decided to use it through a page in Canvas. So I just added a table and added the 5 boxes, and they choose 3 out of the 5. I also added rubrics to each of them as well, so they can see how they're being graded. And one of the things that helped me, like I said, was the Canvas Rockstars to show me how to set it up within pages, linking assignments to the page. And I was trying to make it easy, because one thing about my kids, and I'm sure a lot of your kids, if it's not easily accessible, they give up. So I was trying to make it literally a one-stop shop for them. So everything is linked here. So we can go like the create one, which a lot of them have been doing. So everything is linked. The directions are here. They see their rubric below. The link here for the actual assignment is right there. So they have literally no reason not to be able to find things. One thing I did a survey for them to just tell me how they liked the choice board. Most of them like the options. I have one student in particular. He liked it because if he didn't understand one of the assignments, he could try another one. So that's why it's great for personalization and making them feel like they are in control, and they don't have to be confined to one set assignment. But I've really enjoyed the choice boards. Like I said, it kind of makes me feel like there's some normalcy in my life. And my kids seem to really enjoy them. And it's not just something to do in remote learning, but it's also, I've kind of seen how I can use it within my own classroom, back face-to-face instruction as well. So like I said, this is my second one I've ever done. Ms. Ponchek has been great, helping me, giving me ideas, resources. So I really appreciate her, but it's been a good success with my students, and I've really enjoyed it. So
awesome. I love the narrative of how you kind of started with frustration because the kids weren't really engaging and they weren't really participating like they do in the class, but then also like how you kind of morphed that coaching cycle into something that was going to benefit you in remote learning. So it's awesome. I really am excited that it made your job better and more fulfilling. I think I heard you say, like you felt like you kind of got back to the normalcy of teaching, but also the kids were more interested and more engaged and they really liked it. So I think that's a win-win.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions? Let's see. I said in the chat, because you shouted out Canvas Rockstars several times, that I didn't even pay you to say that.
It was great. I enjoyed it.
Good. I'm glad. And I think I had lots of folks come back and say things about Canvas Rockstars and the blended, the other modules that we put together, just saying basically how helpful those are. Even our best Canvas users are users that use Canvas all the time and have been using it for a long time. I think a lot of folks were really excited to learn things that they didn't know in some of those modules, either the Rockstar course or the module. So awesome. All right. Well, it doesn't look like anybody has any questions.
Okay.
I started recording a little bit late.
That's fine.
But it was like just like maybe 30 seconds in. So I will do kind of an amended version of the beginning, and then we'll archive this. And so thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate it. And
thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing the cool stuff that you're doing at Monroe High. All right, so we are going to move on. I think I saw Jessica. I think I saw you come in and go out, and I wonder if you're having connection issues. Are you here?
Yes,
Jessica?
like my internet is always fine, and then at 2:08 it starts acting funny. So I was like, so I was like yelling down the hall. I was like, who touched the router?
So funny.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So funny story. Last week we had an innovation showcase, and my husband is a teacher, and he was nominated by someone else to be in the innovation showcase. And literally, we were sitting at the same dining room table, and my computer stopped working, and I like got up and walked over and popped into his camera and presented from his camera. So literally, like, we've seen weirder things, and if we lose you, we'll keep going and we'll pick up when you get back with us. So don't worry about it. So Miss Miller is a teacher at at the Health Science Academy at Monroe Middle School, and she was nominated by a peer because of some of the really cool stuff she was doing. And so when I asked her if she would present, she said I got even more excited when she responded with, really what I think my niche is using Google Apps for a variety of assessments. And I thought, well, that's way better than what I was thinking that you were going to share with us. So I have been looking forward all week to what you have to share with us. So without further ado, Miss Miller is going to share with us what she's doing with Google Apps for assessment. Thank you, Miss Miller.
Let's see. Okay, so this is the Canvas page that I gave my students. We had been working with modules the whole year. I usually I use technology even when we were in the classroom, so I tried to keep it similar to the things we were doing there. So I'm going to run through several things that I do, and if you have a question about how to do one specifically, or if you want like a tutorial on how to do them, I am more than happy to share those with you. You can just email me. The first one is first is Edpuzzle. So Edpuzzle is not necessarily a Google app, but it runs very seamless with our students' student accounts. They can log in using their student account. They don't have to create an account. It's already there. So Edpuzzles are kind of how I introduce the slow internet. This is how I like introduce content to kids. And what's really great about Edpuzzle is it gives them questions.
Welcome to Bedtime History. Have you ever?
So once it gets to a certain part, it'll ask them a question about what they just watched, and you can do open-ended, multiple choice, and it collects the data for you, which I am an 8A B-Day teacher, so I teach a lot of students at one time. So that really helps. Sorry, I was checking to make sure I wasn't talking to the wall. It helps to assess what your kids are learning, and you don't have to make your own videos. You can use videos that are already created for you on YouTube. And it, like I said, it will collect it into a grade book for you. And if you are a Google Classroom user, it also works very seamless with Google Classroom. I assign them as an assignment in Canvas with no submission. And my kids just know that they're not submitting anything there. They're going to Edpuzzle. The second thing that seems to be very popular amongst my colleagues during this distance learning is card sorts or word sorts. I did card sorts and word sorts with my kids prior to this. We have a high ESL population, and I work a lot with students who struggle with their reading skills. So word sorts are a great way to kind of assess some of the things that we do in class. So when I first started using Google Apps, I always thought I had to stay within the white space. And the white space feels very limiting, but when you make activities like this in Google Apps, you can actually go outside of the white box. And so my kids have these boxes, and I put the directions here, and they are able to drag those boxes into the correct place. And then when they're done, they submit it on Canvas, and I am able to grade it through the speed grader. So they don't have to type anything. They don't have to look anything up. This was an assessment to assess a standard for how geography affects civilizations. And I get a lot of engagement with things like this. I think they see it as something that is easier because they're not writing, they're not typing, they're not having to kind of like make their own thoughts. But what they don't know is it's a 100% true assessment of things that I've taught them, and they don't even realize it. So these can be made using the master slide option. So anything that you don't want your kids to be able to move or touch, you can use the master layouts. So this part, they are not able to click on, they cannot change it. But when I go back to the actual slide, they can only move the pictures. And I have a couple other assignments that I've done this where you can put text boxes over it. So this makes digital worksheets that you can import into Canvas, grade in SpeedGrader, and it really helps to give the kids kind of like that assessment without having to use like a multiple choice quiz or something like that. I've lost my spot. This is another drag and drop assignment that we used. My kids are really obsessed with their Hydro Flask. And so this was an assignment that they could use or they could do. They had to choose either Sparta or Athens, and they had to decorate a Hydro Flask and explain why they chose the stickers that they chose. And so I got a lot of engagement on this, especially from the girls. I had some that found pictures of scrunchies and added that. So this was a really great assignment, and they enjoyed doing it. I think I had the most engagement on this assignment of any of my assignments because they got to decorate a water bottle. But it assessed a reading that they did comparing Greek city-states, Athens and Sparta. So it was an assessment of a reading, but I just chose to do it in a different way. How much more time do I have?
So you have about 2 minutes, and we have a couple questions. So if you have any other things you want to kind of share.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the last one. So Google Sites is actually, so this is my escape room that I created for my kids. They have enjoyed doing this immensely. Like all week, I've gotten emails and text messages and all kinds of things like, Miss Miller, help me with this. So I was really proud of this. So they have a form. This is using Google Forms and Google Sites. And then all of the assignments that I just showed you or types of assignments that I showed you are in this particular assignment. So I used embedded pictures. So for example, they would click on the dog, and the dog takes them to a jigsaw puzzle that they have to complete. And as they figure out the passcodes, it will unlock the different clues for them. And so you can assess this. It's very easy to assess because once they get to the end, that means they got all the questions right, and it will spit out a certificate that they then share to you. And so you don't even have to go through and grade any of the work they did because these passcodes will grade it for you. This is like a big undertaking. So like I said, if you would like help on how to make one of these, let me know, and I will be more than happy to walk you through it on like a Google Meets or a Zoom.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'm just going to read through the questions. The first one we had was about the Edpuzzle. Do you create the questions for Edpuzzle, or are they already made for you?
So there are some that are already created for you. So you can go in and say you want to do something on the Crusades. You can type in the Crusades and it will show you ones that are already made. I believe like several of mine are already like created, and it will make your own copy and import it into your own Google Classroom or Edpuzzle class.
Okay. And I do want to say, so that's good info. And I do want to mention that sometimes we basically categorize Edpuzzle as not approved but not district supported. And the only reason we do that is because it has YouTube videos. And so we don't always want to say that it will always work for students because of sometimes it's embedding YouTube videos. So that's just kind of my district disclaimer there. It sounds like you have good success with it in student, and that's what I expect most times. Do you have any feedback on that?
You have to approve the video
Yep.
using that approval tool.
Right.
And it generally
In YouTube. Yeah.
in
Perfect. Yep. Okay. So lots of love. I love interactive material for learning. It makes it fun. Good job, Ms. Miller. I thought somebody had, so Alicia would like for you to coach her on how to do the escape rooms. I thought there was another question, but it looks like they were all really awesome comments. I was super excited for you to share, use the empty space in a Google Doc. That's a pretty good example or a pretty good idea. I use it all the time for directions so that the white space can be the student product. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And you are using, one more Edpuzzle question, you're using the free version of Edpuzzle, is that right?
Yes. I'm a firm believer in not paying for anything that you can do for free. So that's one of the reasons that I use Google Apps. I am a Google Apps certified educator level 1 and 2. So if you're not a Google Apps educator, there are some free resources online that help you get certified for that. And it really does change the way you use those free applications that are already available to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And all the learning for Google certification is free, like you said, right? The only cost is to take the assessment to get the actual certification.
Alice Keeler does she does a free class, and she has a lot of free resources, and so that's what I use to kind of do that. So it was really great.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And so anybody who wants to get some tips, or I think Ms. Miller, it might be a good idea to maybe make a document that kind of outlines some of these ideas to share, because I would hate for you to get bombarded with lots of folks. We've got about 23 people in here, but we're averaging about 60 to 80 additional views on the YouTube video. So you don't have to, but if you do end up making something or sharing so that you don't have to share over and over, or you can support people one at a time, that's totally cool too. Awesome work. Awesome work. We're so excited that you shared with us. Thank you. All right. And our last presenter today is Rhonda Lee from Shiloh Valley Primary. And she is a kindergarten teacher, right, Miss Lee?
I am. I was supposed to be first, so I didn't have to rise up to these challenges.
Oh, is it? No, you are going to do an awesome job. I'm certain of it. Are you good to share your screen?
I am.
Okay.
Thank
you for being with us today. And so Miss Lee was the one, if you missed the beginning of the video, Miss Lee was the one that was nominated by a parent who's also a teacher in the district. So I'm excited. I love Smart Learning Suite. And so I'm excited to hear what you're going to share with us.
Okay.
All right. It's all you, Miss Lee.
Oh, let me find it. I had it. I lost it. That's usually my life. All right. What I've been using with my kindergartners, well, to start off with, I was using this in class before we went to remote learning. But then by using the blended learning, I learned how to use it so that we could push it out to students. So we've been, I've been making these games. And the reason I did it is because our kindergarten math lessons are dependent. They are based on what's in the packet, and the packet, by nature of what it is not that complicated or exciting because the kids don't have support. So I wanted to make something more engaging for the students, because when I first looked at it, I thought, this doesn't get me excited. It's not going to get them excited. And math shouldn't be something you just do to get done. You should enjoy it and you should be engaged in it. So we're using these games, and they're quick to make. The kids love them. And one of the things that I like about them is that you can do multiple games in one setting. So for this game, we were working on understanding how 10 and a number makes a teen number. And what they would do is grab one from this side and try to find this pair on the other side. It's self-correcting, so kids can see immediately if they got it right or if they need to think it over. Now, the downside of this type of game is you have those children who like to do this just to watch the players get shocked. So that makes it a little more challenging. But as you can see, these are activity-based games that the format is there, and you just have to input what you want the child to work on. And this is a simple matching game, playing concentration. They can invite a friend to play with them and play a 2-player game. It has a review part of it so they can see what they got right. And you can put up to 10 pairs. This one is actually very busy for a kindergarten, but they can play it as many times as they want to without any kind of score. It has fun music that the children find engaging. And they also have this feature of it where you can create a worksheet and then turn it into a handout that's pushed out to each student. So with this one, sometimes it's a little slow. With this one, this shows the students that have already participated in it, but you can also see what you as a teacher have created and what it's going to look like from the student's point of view. And with this one, I put these items in, I've got them locked in place, but they can pick the numbers up and move them to where they need them to be. So that's one of the activities that we did. Trying to think if there's anything else. I wasn't slated to share it with you, but another thing that I have used that the kids love is making a Kahoots challenge. You can take whatever kind of Kahoot game that you created and push it out so that students can attempt it on their own. And they can attempt it as many times as they want to and try to improve their score. For our competitive students, they get really engaged in the challenge of it. And it'll let up to 100 players play. And so as long as there's room to play, the kids can keep going back in and trying to improve their scores. I think that's about all I needed to say, unless somebody else anybody has a question.
We do have some questions.
Okay.
Yes, Ms. Zilke, I do share the recording. Once I put it all together in a video, and then I share it on the same place that you went to get the link for today's session. So where it says tune in live, at the bottom of that column, there'll be archived video. And so all of the other archived videos are there too. Miss Rossman was giving you a shout out, Miss Lee. She said that her son loves doing these activities. Catherine asked, where do you go? Oh, go ahead.
They're very engaging. The kids love them. And the question you're about to ask me, I saw it in the chat box because another shout out to UCPS PDC. That's where I first was introduced. These games are all part of your smart notebook. So everybody has a smart notebook on their computer, and I just saw it as an icon until I went to that workshop about technology, and the presenter, one of the reps from the company was there, and he introduced me to the games. So on your freestanding computer, the smart notebook is one place where you can access those games, but that's just for inside the classroom. Excuse me.
Right, on your panel, right?
Yes.
Or do you have a panel, Miss Lee? That's a good question too. Do you have a smart panel, or are you using an older version of a projector?
I actually have a smart TV, but you don't need it. See, that's why I first ignored that icon. I said, I don't have a smart.
That's what I was asking.
So I don't have a smart board.
Right,
so why do I care about that icon? And then I found out this is actually, and I'm not really good at this part because I haven't been trained, and I'm comfortable with what I have with the Active Inspire. So until I'm forced to learn something new, I'm not rushing to learn anything new. But the little activity game he's here, and this is the part I
Mhm.
did use. These are the activities, the games that I just used to create. When you're learning remotely, you have to avoid the ones like the game show and the shout it out and the monster quiz, because those all involve active involvement at the same time. So you can't
Yeah.
push those
They,
out.
yep. They call those
Go
teacher
ahead.
paced versus student paced.
Yes.
And so the adjustment that I think you made, which I'm so excited that you mentioned this, because some of the things that you were using in the classroom are different now than the things that you're using with students remote learning, right? Because in the classroom,
Yeah.
you might have been using Monster Quiz and Shout It Out and things like that as a whole group. And
Yeah.
those basically have to be started by the teacher, and the students can participate. But what you've set up is self-paced, student-paced is what we call it, activities, exercises that kids can go through on their own. And I love what you said about supplementing the print materials, right? And so
Yeah.
I think you say that you're not tech savvy, but you were able to figure out which ones would work in your classroom and which ones you had to kind of capitalize in remote learning. So I think that you are killing it with the implementation of the Smart Learning Suite stuff. And everything that she said was right. You don't have to have a smart panel. Everybody has access to that. Everybody has access to Smart Learning Suite and Smart Notebook, and you don't have to have a new panel or you can use a Promethean board or anything. You can just use your computer. We have licenses for it to be installed on everyone's device.
All right,
So that's
Casey,
really exciting.
one last thing I want to
Of
say
course.
before I have to go. So this was the
It's your
coolest
show.
part. The coolest part, well, I didn't know about my time. The coolest part that I found out about during this is now SLSO is hooked up to our Google Drive. So to start a new one on your computer, you just go to here, and there it is. And this is just
There it is.
asking in a shared folder. So it's just asking that question. And of course, it's going to be slow. But
That's okay.
this also has access to vetted YouTube videos. You can import. You can just start a new blank page, which is what I use to do introductions or giving information. But there are the game-based activities right there, and you just click on what you want to use, and you get started. So you can give them a name, and you give a name to the two different ones that you want, or you can leave it blank. It doesn't matter. And then you put the matching text, whatever you want, together.
Yep. So you could do evens and odds.
Yes.
Right. Yep.
So just that was just a quick visual
Yeah,
one.
no, that's perfect.
And so it's generating it right here. And with some of the games, and I know I saw that a lot of people are everything's slow, right? And so right here, you can preview the game to see how your students would see it. Oops. And so he gets a little celebration.
And you can add pictures to that, so you could match
Yes.
a word with an image.
Yes.
You've got all kinds of opportunities, especially for our youngest learners. I think that's pretty cool.
The hardest part for me has been the actual because so much is dependent on images, and you have to worry about these rights and those rights. And so creating what I've done is create with my Active Inspire, snip it with my snipping tool, save it into my clip art drive, and then upload it. So it's a lot of work when you're dealing with primary, because you have to be, they are
Lots
so
of pictures.
they're
Yeah.
so image dependent. And so, but it's fun for me to do.
Yeah, I like it. So Ashley put in a link for the free PD offered for SLSO. We also have a Smart Rockstars course, just like we have a Canvas Rockstars course that's on the staff development course site. If you want to check that out, it actually was our first Rockstars course. So we have a whole bunch of Smart Rockstars in our district, teachers who have gone through the process and learned kind of how to manage all of this and how to capitalize on Smart Learning Suite. So if you're looking for some PD over the summer, or this is something that you want to get better at, you could check out Smart's resources, or you could take our courses. And if you take our courses, it also aligns with the CEU. So if you're looking to kind of kill two birds with one stone, that would be great. We take a lot of our resources straight from the link that Ashley put in the chat. And so a lot of them would match. So it wouldn't be like two different experiences. We take a lot of their resources and say, if you do this activity, then you prove that you have mastered that concept, and we give you a CEU at the end too, and a pretty cool little sticker for your computer that says, I'm a smart rock star. So if you're interested in that, there's my little plug. Smart Rock Stars, all kinds of videos on YouTube as well for how to use Smart Learning Suite online. It has been something that has really changed how we use Smart Learning Suite now that students are at home and they're more on that student paced and not that teacher paced. But there's some pretty cool activities in there with the game show and monster quiz and things like that. All right, I have one more thing that I'm going to ask for you guys to help me with. We are nearing the end of our innovation showcase. We have 3 presentations lined up for next week. But I'm thinking about taking this presentation, the innovation showcase that we've had on Tuesday and Thursday, every day from 2 to 3. And I'm wondering if we can knock this down to 1 innovation showcase a week. And I don't need people to commit to watch it, because I think eventually if I'm archiving them in YouTube, people will watch them. But I'm wondering what people think about sharing during summer break. I'm wondering if people would be interested if we kept nominations going throughout the summer, if I contacted you, if you'd be willing to spend 30 minutes with us to kind of share. And really it's 10 minutes. You only really talk for 10 minutes. But I was wondering if you could go to menti.com on your computer and use the code 374289 and just let me know if you would be interested in presenting or sharing in the summer or no. I think I need to have y'all to make this work. I can't just come in. Okay, code is 37. Can y'all see my screen? I think I'm sharing. So it's up here. It's menti.com. Yep, and use the code 374289. I might have done something wrong because I don't. Oh, okay. Now I know I did something right because somebody said yes. So I really just need presenters, and I can keep nominations open. I would just need folks, 3 people a week to help me kind of populate. It would kind of be just like a once a week thing. All right. Nobody said no yet. That's good. I'm interested to see, because I know teachers learn all summer long and they think about their classroom all summer long. And even though we think that teachers unplug, they don't. I know that you don't. So, okay, it looks like if I was to continue this for the whole summer, if I did it once a week, I at least could go for 2 weeks with 6 people. That would give me 6 people. Awesome. And you know what? If people get nominated and they say I don't have time, then that's okay too. We'll move on to the next. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I am going to take down that code. I think 6 out of 17 is a good number, and nobody said no. So that's also good. All right. Well, thank you to Jessica and Kyla and Rhonda for sharing some of the cool stuff that's happening in Monroe Health Science Academy, at Monroe Middle, Monroe High, and Shiloh Valley Primary. Thank you so much, guys. I hope that I will archive this video and post it in YouTube so that you can share. If you saw something that you want to go back and check out, you're absolutely welcome to. And let us know if you have any questions. We are so happy that you're here to learn and here to share. And we will see you at this time, well, at 2 o'clock on Thursday for our next presenters. Let me tell you that real quick. Our presenters on Thursday happen to be there's a Rockcrest Elementary teacher talking about Flipgrid. We have a middle school teacher from Parkwood Middle talking about choice boards and HyperDocs. So similar to what Kyla was saying today, as well as we have a media coordinator sharing how she is amplifying student voice and empowering students through some of the activities that the specialist teachers are incorporating in remote learning. So tune into that 2 o'clock on Thursday. Go to that same spreadsheet, tune in, and we will see you all then. Thank you so much. Have a good Tuesday afternoon. Bye-bye.